has released a ominous and very
The United States just lost a war it didn't even know it was fighting. While Washington celebrates military victories and economic growth numbers, the real battlefield has shifted to something much more dangerous. The war for the global payment system. This week, something unprecedented happened in the shadows of international finance. Brazil quietly activated the BRICS bridge system. And for the first time in 80 years, major economies completed cross-border transactions without touching a single U.S. bank. The American media is not reporting this story, but I can tell you, as someone who spent decades inside the system, this is not just another trade deal. This is the financial equivalent of splitting the atom, and the explosion is coming. You see, the United States has enjoyed what we call monetary imperialism for nearly a century. Every time you buy oil, coffee, or electronics anywhere in the world, those transactions flow through New York banks. Washington collects a tax on every trade, every investment, every breath of the global economy. But that monopoly just ended, and most people don't even realize it happened. My name is Paulo Nogueira Batista Jr. I served as executive director at the International Monetary Fund. I sat across the table from finance ministers of collapsing nations. I know how empires fall. They don't collapse from outside invasions. They collapse when their money stops working. And the American money is about to stop working. Let me explain what happened this week in Brazil. President Lula signed an executive order that sounds boring to most people, but this order just declared independence from the U.S. financial system. Brazil can now trade directly with Russia, China, India, and South Africa using our own central bank digital currencies. No dollars, no SWIFT system, no permission from Washington. Think about what this means. When Brazil sells soybeans to China, we no longer convert our reais to dollars first. We settle the trade instantly using blockchain technology backed by our central banks. The transaction is faster, cheaper, and completely invisible to U.S. regulators. For 50 years, America's greatest weapon was not their military, it was SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. Every international bank transfer in the world flows through this Belgian company controlled by the U.S. Treasury until now. The BRICS bridge is not just an alternative to SWIFT. It is a declaration of war against monetary colonialism, and it's working. In November 2024, Russia and China settled $20 billion in bilateral trade using this new system. In December, India and Brazil completed energy transactions worth $15 billion. By January 2025, South Africa joined the network. The numbers are still small compared to the global economy, but remember, every revolution starts with small numbers. The internet started with a few university computers. The United States...
Okay, so this is basically what's going on. Everybody is going to cut America out of the doing financial transactions, tariffs. That's the reason why Donald Trump's lifting all of the tariffs on all of the different countries, all of the sanctions, right, in order to convince them to go back to using SWIFT, but they're not doing it now. They said, fuck SWIFT. You evil bastards, you don't want to play fair? Then we're not going to play fair with you. They're like the bully in the schoolyard, picking on all the kids and taking their school lunch money, right? All the kids decided to fight the bully. Let's beat him up and take back our school lunch money. And that's basically what all of the BRICS nations have done. They've collaborated and came up with their own financial system to go and work outside of the U.S. petrodollar. The U.S. petrodollar, with these financial transactions consistently being done to other nations doing business without doing business with America, trading in U.S. petrodollars, the U.S. petrodollar becomes useless in the geopolitical international markets. That means that the price of oil for all of the other nations in the world, okay, will drop down to 35 or 45 cents a fucking gallon. Okay? That means that barrels of oil will drop down to $10 or $15. Okay? $30, $40 max per barrel. Everybody gets cheap gas. everything is, all the transactions that they're doing, import and export, become a lot less on the countries that are importing and the countries that are doing the exporting. Everybody's making money hand over fist because they're enjoying the prosperity of cheap prices and saving hundreds of millions of trillions and billions of dollars in their own currencies, thereby bringing the value of their currencies up to par with that of the US petrodollar, while the US petrodollars fall into the fucking ground. Okay? Now, Esau Edom has a choice. This is the Edomite, Caucasian, imperialist, colonialist, son of a godless devil. Okay? They're going to force you, as the American citizens, right? Because they have ownership papers on each of the American citizens. They have a social security card, and they have a birth certificate for each and every one of you. Under the Federal Reserve, okay, the Federal Reserve, because each state and the 50 states have a Federal Reserve Bank that they deal with. I think it's about 4 or 5 in the United States. Actually, one for the East Coast, one for the West Coast, one for the Midwest, one for the Southwest, Midwest, and then they got one in each individual country. As long as all of the heathen nation countries do business with America, they do business with the Federal Reserve, which is a privately owned bank, owned by the Red Shield family, the Rothschild family, the Bauer family, okay? And all of the financial transactions, they could start charging you interest and tariffs and sanctions on doing business with them. They've been doing that for almost 100 years, okay? No longer. All of these nations have decided to beat up the bully and take back their fucking school lunch money. And that's exactly what's going on, okay? All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rahabah Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching me how to preach this truth that rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that have been scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom. Oh, have you noticed that these YouTube notifications, they come in as soon as you mention the Lord's name? As soon as you mention his name, you don't say anything about Great Millstone. If it says anything about Great Millstone, it's fine. It's immediately Great Millstone and saying the Lord's name is immediately attached together with one another. These devils are going to push, what do they call, domestic terrorism, or domestic terrorist, ISM. Okay, that's what they're going to do. Okay, and put you on a domestic terrorist watch list to see what you're doing, your contacts, who you're dealing with, who you talk to, all of this other shit, in order to try to build a case against you, so this way they'd have a reason to put you into prison, like it says in Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. So I just thought I'd put that in there to let you know, every time you get a notification from YouTube on your phone, it is about something that you had mentioned, either making a video or whatever have you, okay, or you have a spam risk that comes across your phone. That's the IDF, the International Defense, Israeli Defense Force, where they're using Sam Altman's OpenAI chatbot GPT. They're using the different apps through Google Play Store to listen in on your information or whatever you're doing. Okay? I mean, they're spying on everybody in the fucking United States, and that's what they're doing. Okay? Now, getting back to the video concerning America's financial downfall, that's the reason why you're running into hyperinflation. I showed you a video yesterday about the effects of all of the other nations not doing business with America. Right? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, the video that I had made yesterday, Salakia. Okay, what the hell? Nicotine. Nobody dealing with nicotine. Hold on, man. Boom, let's do this. Oh, that was one I missed it right away, didn't I? Alrighty, hold on. Let's see. See if I can find that video. Hold on, let me see. Boom, boom. It was about people shopping, the high prices or whatever have you. I just saw it. Yep. Hold on. Yep. Lockdowns on the chip is next, right? Hold on. I don't know what happened to it. I was watching it yesterday. Hold on, man. Let me see something. Okay. History. Watch history. Right. Okay. Let me see. Is it in here then? Yep, it's in here. Boom.
I don't know, y'all, but $7 for some chips is insane. Like, that's crazy.
Boneless beef chuck steak, $82.99. $10 for a pack. What are we doing?
When in the world did candy bars end up being $1.99?
Guys, this is fucking crazy. A case of green pepper is $50.
I told my nephew, go pick out your favorite juice, but
99.10.
nah, nigga, we got water at the crib.
Like 4 of these for $3?
Starting at $10.49, $12.49, $19.49, $29.99, $15.99.
How much did we used to pay for a 5-pound bag of potatoes?
97 cents for a freaking Oreo.
No, you freaking lying. $8.29 for some damn.
Oh yeah, but they're not paying attention to the empty right next to it, right? They're not paying attention to the that empty shelf right next to the food that they're bitching about. Didn't say anything about that, right? We're going right off it. You know where I'm headed, right? Okay. This is what happens when the other nations stop doing business with America and their fucking bullshit. Okay? Real talk. Let's go get 2nd Ezra. Yep, you know where I'm headed. I know you do. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 22. Right? And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, that's going into the hyperinflation. So like you're starting to see the after effects of all these nations with import and export, no longer importing and exporting or importing any of their merchandise to Babylon the Great, America. That's going to leave all of the stuff that's there on the shelves. They're going to have to raise prices on that stuff. Okay? People are still going to buy it. They're just going to buy less of it. Soon, they won't be able to afford it. Walk in there and you find a tub of butter close to $80. That's hyperinflation. When you go to the gas pump in about 6 weeks, gas is going to be anywhere between $8.50 and $12.50 a fucking gallon, people. Okay? They have this thing called quantitative easing. Let me show you something. Okay, let's go to ChatGPT if I can get to it. Okay. Slovakia. Let's go get it. Hold on. What is QE? Okay. Quantitative easing. Quantitative easing is a type of unconventional monetary policy used by central banks to stimulate the economy when standard monetary policies like lowering interest rates are no longer effective. They can't give you lower prices anymore because it's no longer effective. It's no longer financially effective for the individuals that are providing you the merchandise that you need. Okay? It's no longer effective for them. In other words, they're not making any money, right? And particularly in situations of low interest rates or during periods of economic stagnation. That's where we're coming to, a time of economic stagnation. Stagflation is what they call it. Right? Okay. Here's how it works. The central bank purchases financial assets. The central banks, such as the U.S. Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, or the Bank of Japan, buys long-term government bonds or other financial assets from commercial banks and other private institutions, injecting money into the economy. This is what the U.S. banks are going to start doing. Donald Trump's going to sign an executive order for quantitative easing, okay? By them putting more money into the businesses on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, instead of putting it in your pocket, they're quantitative easing all of that. That's going to raise up the prices on you. Everyday Joe Smo, Joe Six-Pack, going to work every day, working 3 or 4 jobs. That's the reason why you see the bunch of TikTok videos of Edomites along with other nations of people bitching, whining, and complaining that they can't afford to live. It's the reason why you had an Edomite Caucasian that lost his fucking mind temporarily, okay? And they gave him a life sentence for setting fire to a 1 million square foot warehouse full of toilet paper and paper towels and other merchandise. Okay? Just setting fire to the whole goddamn thing. Burn it to the ground. Because they didn't give him enough money to pay his rent, to pay his bills, to take care of his family, to make his car payment, to pay his insurance. Right? They took all of that away from him. And so he decided to burn it to the fucking ground. Okay? Now, injecting money into the economy by purchasing these assets, right? The central bank injects money into the financial system. What are the assets? You have a birth certificate. You have a social security card by the Federal Reserve System. Those are receipts of ownership. Okay? They actually own you. Do your own research. When you go down that rabbit hole, you're going to see I was telling you the truth. Okay. I'm telling you, they fucking own you, man. Soon as you look, it's all based on maritime law. On maritime law, when a ship is built on land and when it is shoved into the ocean, it breaks that water. When it breaks the water, okay, it is under maritime law. Under maritime law is the law of the 7 seas of import and export of merchandise. On the day you're born out of your mother's womb, you break her water. Okay? When that water breaks, you are the vessel. Okay? You go down that chute into the world, right? Just like a sailing vessel or a ship, right? When they bust a bottle on the side of it, the doctor slaps you on the ass. You start crying, wah, wah. Okay? You're alive. You're a vessel. Oh, shit. Okay. They give the child back to your mother. Back to its mother, right? Feed it, raise it, send it off into the world so the governments and the central banking system can make money off of you. All the days of your life till you're a slave. And then when you die, your social security number, okay, is changed by one number and given to someone else. Wow. These people don't give a shit about you. Okay? They never have. You're just property to be bought and sold on the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. That's how they make their money, off of you, the employee. Now, AI is in there. They can make a lot more money, okay, without paying a lot less, and pay a lot less out, okay, by putting robots that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't have to take a lunch break. They don't have to go home, get some rest, come back the next day. They don't have to do that. They can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and produce twice as much as you do. Okay? That's the plan. They cut you out. You become homeless. You become part of the system, okay, where you're codependent on the government for sustenance, for survival. Under maritime law, as far as a vessel is concerned, you're subject to all the laws of the high 7 seas, taxation, sanctions, tariffs, whatever have you. That's the reason why you have to pay all these goddamn taxes. Income tax, is illegal by the United States Constitution. In 1913, when they set up the Federal Reserve, okay, that allowed them ownership of you as U.S. citizens. So now everyone is calling in the marker on what the United States owes these other countries for the sanctions, for the tariffs, for import and export and borrowing and selling on the high seven seas under maritime law. They want their money back. They don't have any money. They don't have any gold. So they have you, slave. Understand? No, you don't understand. That's fine. Let's go back to this, what's going on. Injecting money into the economy by purchasing these asset, okay? You're an asset, okay? The central bank injects money into the financial system. Essentially, the central bank credits the accounts of those financial institutions, different financial Federal Reserve banks on the global scale that are forced to do business with the Rothschild family, which is global financial colonial imperialism. Okay? Did it make any sense? I don't know if the guy was trying to explain it to you the way he needed to explain it to you in order for you to get it. A lot of people don't get it. I get it. Anyway, the accounts of these financial institutions with additional money increasing the money supply. So through quantitative easing, they make more money, they print more money out of thin air, thereby devaluing the money that's already there. Because you got more of it. So this way now they can raise the prices on everything because now you have more paper money that's useless to buy the stuff. You can afford it. That's the idea. That's the plan. To make you pay more, but they're not paying you more money per hour. They're not giving you a cost of living increase or cost of living allowance that would allow you, and if you do get a cost of living allowance, it's only 25 cents, maybe 50 cents at the most per dollar. Okay? That's all you're going to get. Okay? For another 2 or 3 years. Okay? Not a raise, but just a cost of living increase. Okay? That's if you have a union. If you don't have a union, you ain't going to get shit but a raise once a year of 10 cents. Fuck you. If that. And then you got to work twice as hard, twice as much, working more hours. And now that they put AI robots in place of you're in competition with a robot that doesn't need to sleep. That looks good on their ledger, on their sheets of paper. Okay, they're making more money off of this robot. Okay, all they have to do is worry about maintenance once a month and once every 2 or 3 months, which is a lot cheaper because they don't have to pay you as far as taking a lunch break, and they don't have to clock you in and out every day. You see how they're cutting out the middleman everywhere in order to make more money to enrich themselves, making you destitute. Okay, in their system that they set up for their benefit, not yours. Okay? You're just a fucking asset. You're just a slave, man. Okay? Number 3, lowering long-term interest rates. The purchase of these bonds drives up their prices. Hold on. Did you get that? Okay. Which lowers their yields, the return an investor gets from holding a bond. Right? So they're not making money off of you. Okay? They put in AI. They make a long-term investment, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They can get a larger investor return on what they invested with the robot as opposed to investing in you, because they got to pay you. With a fucking robot, they don't have to pay. Robot can work 24 hours a day. You can't. See? Anyway, hold on. Since these bonds are considered safe assets, the reduced yields also help lower interest rates across other parts of the economy, especially for loans and mortgages, right? And loans and mortgages, you can't pay your mortgage. You can't pay off the loan now because of the annual percentage rate yield. The annual percentage yield goes up. Okay? So that way the investors can make more money, but they're putting you at a disadvantage because they're not paying you enough money to pay the annual percentage yield, the APY, the APR. You can't to pay back on the loan that you owe on the house, okay, and your mortgage rate goes up. You can't pay the mortgage because now that they've raised the price on the light bill, they've raised the prices on the water bill, on the trash bill, on the phone bill, on your car payment, for no reason out of the goddamn clear blue sky so this way they can make more money out of it. All they're doing is trying to cause civil war, civil unrest, bring in martial law, and force all the people against their will into the United States stablecoin central bank digital currency program, where you have to have a digital ID in order to access the central bank digital currency, okay? Which in turn, right, is the mark of the beast. The beast are the individuals, the investors that run your life, the owners of the central banking system, the elites. These Edomites are the beast. The woman that rideth atop the beast that had 7 heads and 10 crowns, right? Okay, that 7 heads are all Edomite, colonialist, imperialist, privilege and superiority, supremacy. Okay? The reason why the beast is red is because they're all related to one individual, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the devil the Bible speaks of, who has translucent skin, and you can see his blood through his skin. And when he gets mad, he turns red. When he's too hot outside, he turns red. If he gets embarrassed, he turns red. If he gets sick, he turns reddish green, grayish when he dies. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody needs to be colored, it needs to be this motherfucker, because whatever he's going through in life shows through his skin. But getting back to what's going on here on the video, right? Encouraging and borrowing investment. The idea behind quantitative easing is that with lower interest rates and more money circulating in the economy, businesses and individuals will be more likely to borrow, spend, and invest, thereby boosting economic activity. How? When they can't afford to borrow, spend, and invest, because they're giving up all the fucking money to the people that they owe. And then they have to go back. I owe. It's off to work I go. Right? Increasing asset prices. Quantitative easing also raised the prices of financial assets, like stocks and real estate. Just explain that. I tried to, but I should have let the video explain it. This can make people feel wealthier, potentially increasing consumer spending, a phenomenon known as the wealth effect. We've been having that for over 80 years, the wealth effect, okay? 60 years for sure, up until the year 2000. And then 2001, the crash of the World Trade Center, which we all know that was an inside job in order to bring about more surveillance through the Patriot Act, and where they can take more and more and freedom from you and more of your civil rights away from you as human beings. Now they've taken so many rights away from you under national emergency. Donald Trump, ever since he's been in there, every day for an entire year, this motherfucker's been writing executive orders. He's been writing executive orders every single day, at least twice a week for an entire year. And at the end of an entire year, okay, from the time that he was first inaugurated in the office until just recently in February, now he's at war. He promised that it wouldn't be a war. That's the first thing he did. War is the greatest engine of making money for colonialist imperialism. Okay? These people, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Slavery, rape, murder, and pillage. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's the mindset of these Edomite devils. That's the reason why you're currently a slave. And you have papers of ownership called a social security card and a birth certificate. Okay? They own you. That birth certificate makes sure that you are a vessel in maritime law, based on the fact that you have a birth certificate owned by the federal bank, the Federal Reserve Bank in your region, wherever you may be on the planet. Okay? You are a vessel on the high 7 seas. Okay? Right now, you're in you're in international waters in a warehouse where you can't make any money. They can raise prices on everything, right? And they can make more money off of you for the few items that are there. That's what they're doing. Okay? They're making more money. That paper money, if you can have other interests, other countries to interact with you financially, using the U.S. petrodollar, they're making money hand over fist. The individuals that's making money is the Trump family. Baron Trump. What's that chick? Kirk. Captain Kirk's wife. Okay. Her parents worked for the CIA and the KGB. Okay. They got married back in the 80s. Fuck it. They had this little chick. 90s, whatever. Okay. As super spies. You know, it's always been a thing of these devils copying off of Babylonian and Assyrian and Egyptian false gods, worshiping of idols, and shedding the blood of the children of whatever their firstborn. Okay? And they've got a school that, what's her name? Captain Kirk's old lady, okay, is currently in charge of. She's the new J.E., right? Jeffrey Frankenstein, okay? Let's just put it like that. Okay, Jeffrey Frankenstein. Fuck it. I think Frankenstein. Okay, how's that? But yeah, and so that's basically what's going on with that shit. Okay, and they just found another way. Instead of going through the Frankenstein Island, they just go through Erica Kirk. That's the reason why they offed Captain Kirk. That's the reason why they offed his ass, because he went through the ledger and found out that they were funneling human trafficking little kids. Okay, through Jeffrey Frankenstein. Okay, and Miss Kirk was involved in that shit, and they were what do they call it? They were laundering the money through what is that? Turning Point USA. Okay. And they found out about this shit. What's her name is running her mouth about it right now? Candace Owens. Okay. You know? And now Trump's in control of all of that shit right now. Okay. Turning Point USA, whatever the fuck ever. You just had J.D. Vance on Turning Point USA talking shit out the side of his neck. Come on, man. Really? President ain't had nothing to do with Turning Point. That was a podcast. Now all of a sudden you got the Vice President of the United States on the motherfucker. Come on, man. They're just letting the people in the world know that, hey, you can still get kids from us. Don't worry. Okay, you can still do business with us. You see what I'm saying? But on a global scale, on the surface, in front of the entire world, nobody wants to do business with America anymore, right? Key goals of quantitative easing: stimulate economic growth by lowering interest rates and encouraging borrowing. Quantitative easing aims to boost investment and consumption. They can't consume anything because of the prices that they're raised up. I just told you they raised the fucking price on you, man. Okay? And now they're going to give you, supposedly, they're going to give all the banks and investors quantitative ease them. But you're still going to be at a disadvantage of having to pay all these high prices without getting a raise, working all these hours trying to work you to death. Then they come in and suddenly tell you that you no longer have a job. What they're trying to do is destroy, the middle class. The middle class are the people that go to work every day. If they can destroy that, they can force universal basic income. Okay, by universal basic income, they'll give you a certain amount of money per month that you could use using the digital ID. The only way you'll be able to access that central bank digital currency to take care of your family and to continue in your life is using our radio frequency identification micro C-HIP, the size of a grain of rice, that will be subcutaneously implanted underneath your skin. That's the plan. Okay, let's finish. Increase inflation. Central banks use QE to combat deflation or very low inflation by injecting money into the economy, thereby raising the prices on what you pay for things. When it was cheap, you didn't have a problem. Like it says before in 2nd Ezra, and then we'll go back. Hold on. Where's it at? Okay. There it is. 2nd Ezra, right? 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Where was I at? Verse 18, I think. Right? Let's start, verse 19. Okay, let's start at 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and the powers shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. All these things happen to you simultaneously from all sides, man. Famine, right? Now, we just saw empty shelves. The full storehouses are going to suddenly be found empty. You're going to go to the store, you get paid, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul to make sure that you got enough groceries to feed these kids, because in this summer, all these kids are going to be out of school. Normally, they get free school lunch money, free school lunches. So they're at school while you're at work most of the time, right? Of the year. And summer, for 2 or 3 months, 2.5 months, these kids are out of school. Your food consumption is going to go up. Your electricity is going to be used a lot more. Why? Because the kids are at home playing the goddamn video game, right? Okay? Your gas consumption is going to go up because the kids are going to go do something. It's summer, right? Okay? These motherfuckers have thought of everything. There's no way out, okay? And plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Okay? But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. Remember, the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, okay, he judges an entire nation of people for the sins of one man, for the sins of one woman, for the sins of one family. The entire nation gets judged. That's the way the Most High does it. He does not change. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 states, I am the Lord thy God, I change not. Okay? He doesn't change. Esau Edom, the so-called white man, through colonialist imperialism, changed what the Most High had already wrought. Just like they do with a seedless watermelon, a seedless lemon, a seedless pumpkin, right? A seedless whatever the fuck it is. They take what was made perfect by the Most High God to self-perpetuate, to end self-perpetuation, to cause dependence on them for sustenance, as opposed to the Most High giving you water for free. 2/3 of the planet is made out of water, and that they want to put it in a carcinogenic container and sell it to you at cost. Really? These people have got to be stopped, man. They are the wicked. Job chapter 9 verse 24 states that the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. Only a wicked devil would think to do something and change what God had wrought, what God had made perfect, into thinking that they're making it better by taking the seeds out, growing it in a petri dish, and sell it to you at cost in order to fulfill a depopulation agenda? What the fuck? Ecclesiastes chapter 1 states, one nation passeth away and another nation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. If the earth abides forever, that means that the food's going to abide forever. There's going to be plenty of meat for all the people on the face of the earth, and plenty of water, since 2/3 of the planet's made out of water. What the fuck? The air is going to always be clean because you got trees. These Edomites have been at war with life itself for the better part of 500 years. They've been cutting down forests, deforestation, which is like the air filter of the world. Okay? The human being breathes out carbon dioxide. You breathe in oxygen, right? The trees create oxygen by breathing in carbon dioxide. The trees are there for your benefit. It is a perfect symbiosis between earth and man, for man to continue to perpetuate itself on the face of the earth. Everything was made for a certain purpose, a certain reason. Esau, Edom takes all of these purposes and reasons away from all the things that God made. These motherfuckers, they'd rather have plastic trees, plastic grass. Okay? You go to Arizona, you have houses with plastic grass. People are out there trimming plastic grass. Okay, and vacuuming plastic grass. Man, come on, man. Come on, for real. This shit is actually happening, man. Okay? Right? But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. But good case. That's where the quantitative easing comes in. Okay. For low inflation or deflation, where the prices are cheap on everything, that's where the victuals are so good, cheap upon earth, they shall think themselves to be in good case. You were thinking yourself was in good case. But even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Right? But even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Sword, famine, and great confusion. The sword, through death. 2/3 of the planet made out of water, man. Come on, man. These motherfuckers want to sell you water. They want to put air in a container, in a canister, and call it oxygen and sell it to your elderly. Okay? Hey, man, these motherfuckers do. Hey, let's go get it. Gotta get it. Where's it at? Wisdom of Solomon, wasn't it? Wisdom of Solomon 15:9, wasn't it? Okay, verse 12, Salakia. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, verse 12. But they counted our life a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. For say they, we must be getting every way, though it be by evil means. Okay? They've got to be making some kind of money, some kind of way off of you. All right? Okay? That's the wickedness of these devils. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. Okay. Let's start at verse 4. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, verse 4. And our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun and overcome with the heat thereof. These Edomites don't believe in reincarnation. They don't believe in the resurrection. That's the reason why they wrote these words. They think that once they come upon the earth and they die, they'll never be back. They'll never come back. That's the reason why Mitch McConnell in 2021, 2022 said that, Salakia, the Edomites can't be held accountable for what happened 150 years ago during transatlantic slave trade. Okay? The Americans can't be held accountable for that. So these devils honestly believe that they're just going to walk right off into the kingdom of heaven and take over. This has always been the ideology of these goddamn devils on all of these nations ever since the Tower of Babel, to go into the kingdom of heaven and wrest the kingdom from the Father. That was the ideology of King Nimrod when he had the tower built. He was going to go right off into the kingdom of heaven, kick God's ass, and take over his kingdom. They've had that ideology ever since, saying that Satan rebelled against the Lord. He ain't got the testicular fortitude to rebel against God. He ain't going to do that. He's not stupid. Okay? The Most High created all spirits, whether they're ministering spirits or living souls, that they were created by the Most High God for a purpose. And Edom, is the living embodiment of satanic power on the face of the earth, the children of wickedness. Right? They're the children of Satan. Okay? Yeah, the motherfucker actually has kids. And they're the ones that rule the world and run it directly into the fucking ground. At cost. Because it costs you. They must be getting every way by any means necessary. Okay? They're going to get some money out. They're going to squeeze blood from a actual fucking turnip. That's the point. All right? For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and our end that there is no returning. For it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. See? Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. Who are the creatures? The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. Who are the creatures? The creatures are the other heathen nations, okay, the peoples of the earth. Remember, there are 3 sons that the Most High had. He had the sons of God, who are the Israelites. He had the sons of men, who are the heathen nations. And then he had the sons of perdition, whom are the Edomites. It's that simple, man. Okay? And the sons of perdition are in control of the world. And they said, let's use these creatures like when we did when we were little, when we were young, during slavery, during the transatlantic slave trade. Let's use them. Let's eat them. You know, they have got a book called The Delectable Negro. You might want to read that PDF file. You know, go to Google and Google in The Delectable Negro and read a few pages. Okay? I dare you to read past page 25. Okay? These motherfuckers actually ate us. Let us speedily use the creatures as in youth. And that's what they used to do to us. The dark-skinned Negro was dark meat. The light-skinned Negro was white meat. Okay? They used to actually eat us, man. Okay? These are woodwolves, these Edomites. Okay? These are the very same people that were fighting against so-called black nobility, the Moors, okay, during the reign of the Byzantine Empire. If the Moors, okay, which means so-called black nobles, okay, were at peace with everybody else except for these Edomite Caucasians, they were always at war. In any of the European nations, Scotland, Ireland, Europe, Germany, all of these were run by the black nobles. All the castles that you have in all of these different countries, okay, were ran and built by the so-called black nobles, the Moors, right? Okay, because that's what Moors means, black noble, so-called dark melanated skin noble. A noble, what is a noble? A king or prince, right? Okay? They were at war with these Edomites. They were always trying to climb the walls, kill every goddamn body, and pretend to be us. When we used to actually take these Edomites and teach them how to stand up straight, how to cut a steak, how to clean, how to wash themselves, how to brush their teeth. Yeah, we created the toothbrush back then. Oh yeah, definitely. Bad breath is a bitch. We even had dentists. Okay, back then. Oh yeah. We taught these devils everything, man. And what do? They poisoned our food. They poisoned our water. Okay, they cut our throat. They betrayed us. We taught them how to stand up straight, how to read, how to write. These motherfuckers, they built during the Renaissance period, the beginning of the Renaissance period, okay, between the 9th and 10th centuries, between the 10th century and the 12th century, okay, you couldn't pay these Edomites to take a bath. They would take a bath once a year. And that was at Christmas time. That's the only time they would wash, man. Their clothes would completely disintegrate off their bodies. Okay, indoor plumbing was throwing feces out the window. That was one of the main reasons why the bubonic plague and the black plague spread across the European nations so quickly, decimating entire colonies and nations of people because of these unclean, uncouth, goddamn animals called Caucasians, troglodytes, cavemen, cave dwellers, Caucasians. Okay? It's not hate. You can Google all of the words that I'm saying. Google troglodyte, cave dweller. Google Caucasian, cave dweller. Okay? Now, we all know Caucasians are so-called white people. They're cave dwellers by goddamn definition. Definitions that they created. We didn't create it. They created it. Okay? You people don't do any research or study upon who hates you the most and why. You don't even know who your adversary is. You just I'm just trying to get along so I can feed my family, die, and go to hell. You goddamn idiot, man. Okay? Hell is a condition. The other part of hell is the grave, where you turn to dust and moans, eaten by worms. That's hell. There's no place where you burn for eternity. Okay? Use your fucking brain and do some research, man. What is the problem? Are you retarded? You're retarded. That's it. I knew it was something. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. Okay. Verse 7. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass us by. Okay, there you go. Pedophilia. Let no flower of the spring pass us by. All right. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds. Sell a boy for an harlot and a girl for wine that they might drink, right? Hold on. Before they be withered. That's what Donald Trump was doing. He has the Miss America pageant, the teen Miss America pageant, the Miss Universe pageant. Who do you think was financing that shit? Donald Trump and Jeffrey Frankenstein. Okay? That's who was financing shit, man. Okay? All right? In order to get their hands on these little girls. Real shit. Hold on. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion, and our lot is this. Right? So they build up false gods and false ideologies, false religions. Right? Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. And you get this through high prices, right? Quantitative easing, okay? Extra more money that they're giving to the other investors, not you, in order to stop the stock market from crashing, okay? So they go to the Federal Reserve, owned by the Rothschilds, to borrow more money to flood into the investment banks because of what's going on right now. The closing of the Strait of Hormuz, that blockade is not working. If they try to stop China, China's going to burn America to the fucking ground and all of the European nations with thermonuclear heat. If you try to stop Russia from going to get oil, they're going to burn America and the European nations to the ground with great thermal heat. Okay? All the other nations that have thermonuclear weapons, okay, are going right through the Straits of Hormuz and straight through that blockade, no problem. So all of the other nations want thermonuclear weapons from China and Russia, and they're in the process of purchasing this to stop the blockades and the bullying of all of the kids on the playground stealing their lunch money. That puts an end to the bully, doesn't it? Everybody's going to kick the bully's ass and take his money now. Everybody's going to turn, all the tables have turned. Turnabout is fair play. They're going to take the money from the bully now. Okay? That's what's happening in world news. I'm just oversimplifying it, okay? So this way your brain will be able to process what the fuck is happening to your paycheck every 2 weeks. Okay? They want you to work for free. If they can't get you to work for free, they'll replace you with a robot that does work for free. See, that way they don't have to pay you. They don't have to pay your insurance benefits. They don't have to pay your 401k plan because they don't have to pay all of that shit, all that extra money out payouts to a robot. They just need to pay a person to come in here and fix the robot and send the robot back to fucking work. That's it. So if you don't have a trade that can be used in order to maintenance AI, you're fucked. You see? You're stuck with universal basic income and the mark of the beast. That's where you're at. Okay? Because they're going to destroy middle class. They don't want nobody working. They want the robots to work. The first place they're going to attack is all the factories across the United States. All the factories across the world. Okay? And see how it works from country to country to country and see how much money they're making. And if they make more money than they were supposed to, or they make more money than they'd ever done in their entire life, then the AI gets closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to come out. They're talking about bringing out robots into all of the factories across the United States this summer. Okay? They're going to force kids to stay at home. Homeschool your kids. You can't do that if you got to work. If you got 3 jobs, the kids are going to be homeschooling themselves. They're going to become latchkey children. Google latchkey children, right? Anyway, sorry about talking so much. But anyway, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Martial law. Okay? Let our strength be the law of justice. Like it says in Luke, Luke, in what is it? 2nd Ezra chapter 38, I think it is. Hold on, let me see. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 38, I think it is. That was verse 39, Salakia. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. That's what's going on in your life, man. Sorrow and mourning and famine and plague and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. They are sent as a punishment to whoop your ass and get you to straighten out. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Okay, like it says in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments. You ain't going to do that. because that's not what you were taught in Christian church. You that said the law's done away with. You can do whatever you want. If that's the case, how come you don't, if you don't like somebody, how come you just can't shoot them in the fucking head? Well, they have laws against that. Wait a minute, you just said the law was done away with. See the hypocrisy? Okay, so, well, that's the law of God. The law of God says, thou shalt not kill. Okay, they say that thou shalt not kill, but you can have sex with an underage minor. No, you say you can't have underage, you can't have sex with underage minor unless you're making at least $150 billion a year. Then you can have as many children as you want. You can buy them and sell them. You can keep them in the basement, like a dog in the dark. If you want them, take them, wash them up, clean them up, and do whatever you want to with them. Okay? Every time they have a dinner at Davos, Switzerland, all these nations, they have a party afterwards. And after that, they have an orgy. And after that, they go home. At that party, they're eating human flesh. At that orgy, they're having sex with one another. Animals, bestiality, everything goes in that room. Okay? You can tell from the Diddy parties, right? Okay, come on, man, because Donald Trump was at one of the Diddy parties. Jeffrey Frankenstein was at one of the Diddy parties. Everybody that's been at one of Jeffrey Frankenstein's super parties was at the Diddy party. Fuck it. He was just making money just like Epstein was doing. He was doing everything Epstein was doing. He was filming it. He was recording it. So this way he could blackmail the same people for the same reason. Okay? But what the disadvantage he had there, he didn't look like the people that he worked with. That's the only thing. If he was a white guy, that motherfucker would have never went to jail. He'd went to Israel. Okay? And got off scot-free like Mr. Frankenstein did. That motherfucker's still alive, by the way. Okay? He is. Real shit. You can go on TikTok. That's another reason they want to take down the internet, because it shows proof that they've been telling you a goddamn lie for, 2-3 years now? 4 years? Since they said he killed himself in prison? God damn that bullshit. That's a lie. There's a 15-minute window where he was not being watched. That 15-minute window, they brushed it under the rug and everybody's forgotten about it. During that 15 minutes, they came and shipped his ass, put him on the nearest fucking plane, and sent his ass off to Israel. Changed his name, and now he's surrounded by International Defense Force or Israeli Defense Force soldiers everywhere he goes. He's got his own his own entourage of super soldiers to protect him. Okay? Because he's still doing business with child sex trafficking. He's just doing it backwards. Instead of through him, he's going through Erica Kirk, like I said, at Turning Point USA. But that's beside the point, right? Let's go back over here to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, right? Verse 11, right? Verse 12. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. And he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objecteth to our infamy the transgressings of our education. So they're doing all of this stuff all at once, and they want to get rid of the prophets. They want to get rid of the prophets that are out on the street corners risking their lives and freedom to tell you the truth and making these video epistles to let you know what's actually going on with these devils and what they're up to. Okay? That's it, man. So, anyway, they want to put your dick in the dirt because you're upbraiding them for offending the law, saying that the law is done away with, like it says in Psalms chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, that thou shouldst take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing as thou hatest instructions and casteth my words behind thee? What are the instructions? The instruction manual, Bible, B-I-B-L-E, basic instructions before leaving earth. It's an instruction manual. They cast the words of the Most High and the instructions behind them. The law's done away with, brother. I can do what... Yeah, okay. See? He professeth to have the knowledge of the Most High, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord. He was made to reprove our thoughts, which is true. The Most High made us to be completely adverse to all unrighteousness. He made us righteous in his eyesight. We can do no wrong. But the elect have been chosen to receive salvation here in these last days from the hand of the Lord, his right hand, who is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. The Most High tells you who he chose. He didn't choose everybody on the fucking earth. He chose one specific people. Right? Okay. Where is that at? Okay. Isaiah 43:1. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. How did the Most High redeem us? By the blood shedding of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach to cover his elect here in these last days. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. Okay? Verse 3. For I am the Lord thy power, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. I gave Egypt for thy ransom. We all know what happened to Egypt, right? The 10 plagues of Egypt, the 3 days of darkness, right? The death of the firstborn, the plague of locusts, the plague of hornets, the plague of lice, the plague of frogs, the plague of boils and disease, the plague of famine, the plague of lightning and hail, the plague of, I mean, come on, man. The list just goes on and on right there. Okay. Okay. All of these things are going to happen to Israel. Now you're actually seeing the power of the land of Israel that was blessed by King David and King Solomon. How the land itself, purchased by King David, okay, for 600 shekels of gold, okay, and shekel in modern day equivalent is, I think, what a shekel is, what, $50,000, $500,000, something like that, okay, and the land of Israel was sold to King David for 600 shekels of gold, if I'm not mistaken, okay, and I forgot the name of the guy. Damn, it was right there too, man. Whatever. For I'm the Lord thy power, the Holy One of Israel. I gave Egypt for thy ransom, Ethiopia and Seba for thee. Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. Therefore will I give men for thee and people for thy life. Okay? These are the individuals that the Most High called his elect. Right? Like it says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 31, he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Right? Where they've been scattered throughout all the nations of the world, living amongst the heathen nations that believe on the name of the Most High God. If they believe, that means they have faith. If they have faith, that means they are devout men, like it says in the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 5. And there came to Jerusalem devout men from under every nation under the earth, okay, under the sky at that time, roughly paraphrased, okay? And they came from everywhere. These devout men had already been previously scattered into the nations, just like Timothy was supposedly a Greek. A Greek is not a so-called, particularly a so-called white man. The original Grecians were melanated, dark-skinned people from the tribe of Japheth. I think. Okay, the Minoans and the Taínos. I think it's in that book, Nature Knows No Color Line. Wow. Damn, I forgot the other name of that book, but that's cool. I've been reading so much, you know what I mean? But anyway. So, fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west. Okay, see? This is the Most High saying these things, man, through his servant, the prophet Isaiah. Okay? I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yep, I have made him. Okay? Verse 9, let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled, who among them can declare this and show us former things. Right? Like it says in Isaiah 46:9, the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is the former, says that the Jacob is the former of all things. Well, let me see. Boom, boom, boom. And 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am the Most High, and there is none else. I am the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Right? Isaiah 44:1. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. The Most High ain't choose all nations on the face of the earth. Okay, let me show you something. And then I'm going to close out because I'm going too far on the video. I can't help it, man. It just happens, okay? Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations. We just read in Isaiah chapter 43, all the nations that he was referring to, who are Israelites scattered abroad. Like it says in 1 Peter, chapter 1, verse 1. Right? All nations scattered abroad. Those were the devout men scattered abroad in Acts chapter 2, verse 5 to 8. Okay? Those are the devout men who knew that they were Israelites. Okay? They knew that they were descendant from Israelites. Right? They had learned in the lands of their captivity where they were scattered that they were Israelites. They have Israelite heritage and blood. Oh, so we could be the people of God? Oh, man, we got to go to Jerusalem. Everybody else is then. If I'm related to the Israelites and God, of the great God of the heaven, is on the side of the Israelites, that means I'm an Israelite. I need to go worship then. So they would take a trek that would take them anywhere between 3 to 6 months to get there from whatever country they were in, traveling on by foot, okay, just to come to Jerusalem once a year to worship to the Most High God and ask forgiveness for their sins. These are individuals that were devout men scattered amongst all the nations. We keep trying to tell you, we think we're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Talking shit out the side of your neck. Like I said before, Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, kindreds, and people, and tongues. Okay, because once they're scattered, they're speaking different languages in different countries, right? Because they were raised in the social norms, the schooling, the languages of the nations in which they were scattered to. But they are Israelites. Right? Like it says in Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 9, my inheritance is as unto me, is as a speckled bird. All the fowls come to devour. All those fowls that come around to devour are the heathen nations in which the Israelites were scattered into, becoming speckled birds, meaning that they had mingled their seed in with the heathen nations after generation after generation after generation, and they were no longer purebred Israelites. They had intermingled their blood and seed line with the heathen nations in which they were married to, or they were raised in, speaking different language. Kindreds, they're kindreds. Kindreds mean of the same nation or tribe or genus. Okay? Same bloodline, right? A nation of people, a tribe, by definition. Okay? And people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. These would be the elect 1/3 found in Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third part shall be left therein. That third part is going to be left therein are the elect that I'm making reference to. These elect individuals were chosen by the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, to receive salvation, predetermined to receive salvation in these last days. Hold on. Where you at? Boop, boop, boop. Right? Peter 1:1, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach to the strangers that would be scattered, that living among all these nations, scattered abroad, like it says in James 1:1, okay, are Israelites that have been scattered living there for decades. That's like, I'm an Israelite and I live in Israel, but there have imposters living in my land pretending to be me. And I'm an Israelite, but I live on the other side of the fucking world. I speak English. I don't speak Yiddish. I don't speak that shit. Okay? But the Most High has probably promised in the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 9, he will return unto his people a pure language. The only way he would be able to do that is for us to start over mentally and spiritually and physically by changing our bodies from corruption to incorruption, from mortal to immortality, changing us from terrestrial to extraterrestrial, from human to meta-human. Meta means beyond. So we would be made beyond human. We would still be in human form, still being able to have children, but we would be like the Viltrumites in the cartoon Invincible. Okay? All right? Right? Elect according to the foreknowledge of the Most High, Father, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, through sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. Grace unto you and peace be multiplied. Okay? That is the sanctification through grace by the sprinkling of the blood of Yahushua that would cover the elect in these last days for the mistakes they make in keeping the law. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High God, Yahweh, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. And with that, I'm going to close out. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rabakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for pushing 100% truth through rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that have been scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Let me see if I can go back to that video. I don't think I can. Okay. I really don't think I can, but...
So Iran dropped another Lego video, but this one right here, work of art.
But you were untouchable behind your walls of gold. But paper burns, and the walls are falling. December 26th, the mandatory draft. You sending us to die while you sitting on a raft. Our boys fight. Yeah, bleeding in the dirt. Your boy's safe, wearing $1 billion shirt. We getting foreign flags, you getting caviar. You driving us to hell in the bulletproof car. Lolita Island secrets, hiding in the shade while the working class dies for the mess that you made. You burning taxpayer money in a giant flame. 100 strikes in 10 minutes, treating it like a game. But the screen is turning red, the algorithms glitch. You dug a mass grave, now you falling in the dead.
There's definitely more to the video, but that video is 4 minutes long. If you want to see the full video, you can visit my IG for that. These videos are telling a story, telling us what they not telling us. Most of us already know. Make sure to follow for more, because there will be more. So I rhyme.
Okay, Shalom. I didn't even know that video was there, dude. I hope I brought some kind of edification. I hope I tried. Shalom.